Oh, hey there. Yeah, I, Daffy Duck, haven't really started my own vlog here lately, but I'm pretty nervous. Besides Warner Brothers only having a short time to live, probably, there's another thing that worries me regarding the Looney Tunes' future. Our Coyote vs. Acme looks like some pretty stiff competition, even if they're released months apart. For some time, I haven't really had to worry about Pixar, but they're coming out with a movie that's got me concerned. After some time of not doing so, they're coming out with a more typical kind of CGI talking animal movie, like the onslaught of ones we got in the 2000s or 2010s. Hoppers. And going for the trailers and promos, it doesn't look or feel very much like something Pixar would do. But like the kind of movies DreamWorks Animation or Illumination or even Sony Pictures Animation would make. The kind with snarky talking animals who aren't very anthropomorphic compared to us Looney Tunes, a bumbling main character, plenty of celebrity voices with some kind of wacky pop culture references.
This is like Avatar.
This is nothing like Avatar!
An irreverent sidekick of sorts, the promotional material loves to focus on and get people hyped for some kind of viral meme thing.
Lizard, 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 lizard.
Some kind of dorky looking image to burn in your mind, so it's the first thing to pop up in your head when you think of the movie. Ooh, she looks more like Daggett from Nickelodeon's The Angry Beavers there. And though the trailers and promos didn't show any, it looks like it's also going to have disgusting bathroom and body function humor of some kind of dance party ending. Very unlike Pixar, save for the Finding Nemo and Cars franchises. Of course, in such CGI-animated movies, if there's at least one fart joke within the film, they also tend to include that in trailers, as is the case with Sony's recent Goat movie. But the trailers for Hoppers didn't show any, so what do I know? But the problem is, many people still apparently love those kind of CGI talking animal movies, possibly even more than me. I know that was definitely the case in the 2000s, with the wild success of DreamWorks Animation's Shrek changing animated movies forever. And then Blue Sky's Ice Age and Pixar's Finding Nemo fanned the flames even further. Shark Tale, Madagascar, Over the Hedge, The Wild, Barnyard, Open Season, Flushed Away, Happy Feet, B-Movie, Surf's Up. And we still got some movies like that into the 2010s, such as Rio, The Nut Job, and The Secret Life of Pets. But then just as that trend seems to die down, bam, Pixar decides to do a movie just like that. They're even advertising it as Pixar's funniest movie ever, and it doesn't even look like it'll have the dramatic, heartfelt approach Pixar is generally famous for. Heck, even DreamWorks' movies like Shrek tend to be kind of heartfelt, amidst all the grossness and snarkiness. And in addition to all those typical DreamWorks and Illumination fans being psyched for Hoppers, I'm also seeing plenty of people online criticizing it for copying James Cameron's Avatar, something they even mentioned within the film has already played for you. Also, though, similarly claiming Pixar has copied DreamWorks' The Wild Robot movie, along with those who still accuse Pixar of doing the Bean Mouth art style, as they call it, the way they allegedly have for their past few original films. And it doesn't help that Hoppers is created and directed by Daniel Chong, known for creating the Cartoon Network studio show We Bare Bears, which is actually done in that so-called Bean Mouth style. You'd think given Daniel Chong's style, he would have gone to work for DreamWorks Animation or Illumination or something, rather than Pixar of all companies, and one that played a part in ruining our Looney Tunes' popularity in the 2000s alongside DreamWorks Animation, with all the reasons I mentioned with such snarky talking animal movies, along with making Hollywood executives foolishly think hand-drawn theatrical animation is dead. Besides the 2004 Annie Awards incident with Finding Nemo that helped ruin my career that decade, there was what social psychologist and animation historian Sam Summers called the Shrekening in his book DreamWorks Animation, Intertextuality and Aesthetics in Shrek and Beyond, with how the Shrek movies strongly influenced other studios' anime features. Most infamously, when Disney abandoned hand-drawn animation for their movies, they tried their hardest to be like DreamWorks, with Chicken Little being a snarky and gender-savvy and mean-spirited take on the format. But I'm not at all looking forward to competing with Pixar again, as they obviously still remember the 2004 Annie Awards incident. Heck, that 2011 Simpsons episode about the Angry Dad movie wasn't that far off from depicting what Pixar is like behind the scenes.
So, that makes your brother the competition. Randy, tell her how we feel about that.
Yes, you've got an enemy. You've got an enemy. I didn't do that, do hit your guts.
Ooh, but at least John Lasseter is not with Pixar anymore, thank goodness, given his uncalled for behaviors. But he's with Skydance, and he merged with Paramount, and I don't want to think about Warner Brothers' doomed fate right now. And in addition to Hoppers and Goat, DreamWorks still has a movie for later this year, Forgotten Island, which of course will likely still follow their same trends, and Illumination has another Minions movie coming out. The anime feature market is tough. Of course, My The Day the Earth Blew Up Looney Tunes movie was just a limited run theatrical release, and most of that $15 million budget went to the Ketchup Entertainment's promoting and releasing of the film, but it was modestly successful enough to convince Warner Brothers Discovery to sell Ketchup Entertainment distribution rights to Coyote vs. Acme. Of course, my movie didn't have to really compete with any big animated titles at that time, and we even performed better than Disney's live-action Snow White remake, and it even won Best Animated Feature at the Music City Film Critics Association Awards. Such nice recognition, especially since you weren't even nominated for the Annie Awards, let alone the Oscars. But Ketchup still didn't promote it that much, but word of mouth and social media really helped it find an audience, including me doing my part in this channel. Woohoo! It even turned out to be something parents could take their kids to on a rainy day or if there was nothing to do around the house, which is kind of the purpose of Disney's live-action remakes for some of the typical DreamWorks and Illumination type animated movies. But yeah, I won't forget how Shrek negatively influenced theatrical anime movies for a long time afterward. Us Looney Tunes did the generous savviness of pop culture references way better, and we didn't need to rely on celebrity casting or dance parties or gross-out humor. Which reminds me, I remember how the executive meddling our Looney Tunes Back in Action ended up going through, led to them forcing the Tasmanian devil to fart at one point, just for the sake of trying to make it relevant and appealing to then modern audiences. Blech! Good thing Bugs brought a gas mask. Same with when the movie made Bugs Bunny burp, just for a cheap laugh. It's like what the late, great Groucho Marx said, if you have to be dirty to be funny, then you're not that funny. I'm glad in the days of our classic shorts, the Hays Code forbade farting and pooping and peeing in motion pictures. And also the way Carl Stalling and Milt Franklin would implement popular Warner-owned music at the time to our cartoons. It was better than Shrek starting the trend of prominently featuring pre-existing pop and rock songs, sometimes unaltered, and sometimes as covers sung by the movie's characters. And Pixar usually avoids that, except for Finding Nemo in the Cars franchise, and Turning Red having a couple such period pop songs playing at a birthday party, since that movie was set in 2002. And I have a sinking feeling Hoppers will feature at least one such pre-existing pop song in the soundtrack, and not just the trailers. Also, Zootopia 2 had a couple such instances of pop songs not written for the movie being used in such a context, like the Land Down Under song by Men at Work for a scene involving Australia. I'm not feeling so hot right now, with Hoppers coming out and Elephants planning to buy Warner Bros. Discovery and kill and fold them into Paramount-Skydance. I may as well stop here and go lie down.